so we have a ton to cover tonight on follow-up and objections. This probably should have been broken down into two separate segments. So I need you to watch the whole video because there's going to be a lot of content in here. And I need you to give me grace because I have had to write down quite a few things. And sometimes it's not as powerful when I can't just come off the cusp and tell you what I think. But because there is so much content, I'm going to just try to do my best. So here we go. We have a lot to cover. So what we talked about yesterday was reaching out. And there are three categories of people. I want to go back to the category of people who are acquaintances and cold contacts, because remember, we're sending them samples. We're starting our reach out with product versus the business, okay? And I want to break this down for you because I want to tell you how I do this, because I think there's a lot of steps that I do that others don't. Okay, they've agreed for you to send them the sample. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch video 3. So you send the sample, okay? You message them to follow up. Hey, how was the sample, okay? And they say, it was great. It felt fabulous. And you said, okay, well, if you think that's awesome, then I want to see what regimen is right for you. I'm going to have you fill out the solution tool, okay? And so you send them the link to your website, the URL, okay? Copy and paste that into the message and say, click on this, answer these questions. It'll take you less than 10 seconds. You need to tell people that, less than 10 seconds, because they think they're going to be taking this huge quiz, but make sure you tell them it's less than 10 seconds. This tells you exactly what regimen is right for you, and then I can show you some before and after pictures to see if this looks like something that you'd be interested in. So they fill out the solution tool. It says reverse, okay? And so then you send before and after pictures. You say, oh, this is my favorite regimen. This is the regimen that I use. These are the results that I received, okay? This is where you give them before and after pictures. Don't give them a ton of information about the regimen. Don't give them price yet. Don't give them a big dissertation about the regimen, the ingredients, none of that. No. We're giving them just before and after pictures. Before and after pictures do all the hard work for you, okay? And I'd send like 3 or 4 different versions. If you know what this person looks like and their skin issues, then I would find somebody's before and after picture that is indicative of their issues. I know that sounds bad, but I swear sometimes people go, oh my gosh, that's my issue. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Okay, so they know, they've seen the before and after picture. And then in that, they're probably going to say, how much does this cost? Or how many steps are this? They're going to ask questions, okay? And so you answer back. Of course, you're going back and forth, bantering back and forth. Do not send people to your website. I never send anyone to my website, ever. Because what happens is they go there, they get lost, they get sticker shock, they get confused. This is the part that is probably not good of me from a corporate standpoint to tell you. I do not like our website. It's awful, okay? And I do not send prospects there for product. I handhold them the whole way, okay? So I've sent before and after pictures. And then I say, does this look like something that, that you would be interested in? Yes, I need to address this, this, and this, okay? And so then they tell you their issues. Okay, so what your job now is to say, okay, let me go in and figure out what would be the best scenario for you, okay? So then they think, oh my gosh, like they're gonna customize a plan for me, okay? And you come back with all different versions of what they could get, because they have told you, like, I struggle with moisture, I have bags under my eyes, I have all this. So you come back with the full-on kit and caboodle, okay? You start from the top and then work your way down, all right? You break down exactly how much each regimen is, okay? How much they're saving, all right? You break this down for them. So all they have to do is at a glance, okay. All right, you've sent that to them. They're either going to do one or two things. They're going to start asking questions again, or they're going to ghost you, all right? If they ghost you, then what you can say is, girl, I am so sorry. You probably just got major sticker shock, didn't you? Okay? And that 9 times out of 10, that's what's happened, is they've got major sticker shock, okay? And so you need to work through them You need to work through that, and you need to break it down and say, listen, you all know how to do this. Like, our products are comparative to, what's in the department stores. Let me show you some examples of other products that are in the department stores. And what's so awesome about our products is it's just like going to a dermatologist, but you're only paying 1/4 of the cost for it, and you can do it in your own home. So you all know how to justify that, okay? But I just wanted to break this down for you so that you see this is all follow-up, me bantering and going back with these people and them asking questions about this. That's a part of follow-up, okay? In between this banter of them asking questions, if I don't know this person real well, I'll say, hey, do you have kids? Do you work outside the home? Who cuts your hair? Your hair is so cute on social media. I love the way you fix it. Who cuts your hair? Or what color is your hair color? Or how do you fix your hair? Like, think of something. Go to their Facebook page, do a little stalking, okay? And look at something that they're interested in and ask them about it. Get to know them a little bit to start developing that relationship. After you get them signed up as a preferred customer, okay, then you start the conversation of, okay, you plant the seed before they buy. You say, okay, I'm getting ready to enter your order in, Sally, but listen, I want to tell you something. I've gotten to know you through this, and I think you're awesome. And if this is a product that you like, then I want us to go have coffee, and I'm going to tell you what this business has done for me and what it's done for several other women that are just like you. No pressure. I'm not going to ask you to do anything. I just feel like this could be something that interests you. And I just the little that I know, you think that you're incredible, and I want to tell you more about it. Okay. You've planted that seed. Okay. And so a month and a half in, after they've been on product and they're loving it, that's when you go in for the kill, set your coffee date, and you start talking about the business. Okay. All right. Stats of not following up. This has been posted on our Facebook pages. The stats are just phenomenal, even outside of Rodan and Fields. That's where all this data comes from, this is all in your back office, by the way. 50% of people have given up after the first contact. 89% have given up after the 4th contact. At the 5th contact, believe it or not, you are just now becoming a factor in your prospect's mind. At the 5th contact, you're just starting to enter in on their radar. To make you've moved in, okay? Not until the 5th contact though. And then at the 8th contact, you're probably the only person who has followed up with this person this much. I have some customers who are in sales, and I've had a couple of them say, congratulations, you actually you made the sale, and it's because you followed up. I've literally had people say that to me who are in sales, and it's their job, because I will never give up. I will always follow up. Okay. So what happens if you don't follow up? One of two things. Well, is it one or two? Yeah. At some point, they're going to partake in the Rodan and Fields product, and they're probably not going to end up coming back to you. 99% of the time they don't. They end up falling into somebody else's hands, and you've done all the hard work, and that person ends up getting the credit for it. It's happened to me. It's happened to all kinds of people on my team. It's just how it goes, and you can't get upset about it. What we have to do is you have to learn from it. Learn from it, and know that, if you don't get over yourself and the fact that you think that you're bugging people when you're following up with them and you're nervous, if you don't get over that, then you need to come to terms with the fact when you look at that person's name and think, they're going to go ahead and just tell yourself, they're going to buy Rodan and Fields someday. Do I want it to be from me, or do I want it to be from somebody else? Okay. And so that's kind of how you need to help yourself get over that hump. The issue that you have is your issue. I can't tell you how many times I have told people, I am so sorry, I feel like I'm bugging you. And they're like, no, they have life going on. They get my message, and the boiling water goes off, or the baby falls down, or this happens or that happens. I literally have 2 women that just signed on as a preferred customer, and one of them is getting ready to order a kit. They joined me as preferred customers last month. Both of them are people who I've been talking to for about 3 years. I have had meetings with them, sat down one-on-one. They have ghosted me numerous amounts of times. They have committed to me numerous amounts of times that they were going to pull the product, and for what, pull the trigger on a PC, and for whatever reason, last month, probably because of all those freaking deals that we had, last month they pulled the trigger, okay? And one's getting ready to buy a kit. And they even say, one says, she said it several times, why did I wait so long? And of course I want to say, yeah, why did you? But I can't say that. I just say, oh, you know, it's okay. No, you know how great the product is. But it's good for me to know that, like, eventually people are going to buy, right? And then my other one says, you know, thank you. Thank you for following up with me. Thank you for never giving up on me. I love this product, and now she buys product for her daughter. Okay. If you don't follow up, nothing's going to happen, because that is how I get my business, is by following up. I never quit following up. Ask the leaders in our organizations, in this organization, who are truly building a massive business. Ask them what the secret to their success is, and the secret is that they just don't quit following up, even when they're ghosted, even when people don't respond. We keep following up, not in a nasty way, not in a even a buggy way. We are just consistent in following up, and we follow our gut when we're supposed to follow up. We're not pressury, and that's what these people love. Okay. All right. Let's talk about social media. I'm going to dive into objections, which I know which you're all waiting on. You're like, just answer our questions about objections and how we need to address these when we're following up. And I'm going to do that. But I need you to consider another facet of follow-up, which is social media. Social media is how we speak to people and how we follow up inadvertently. Okay, it does a lot of the heavy lifting for us. When I'm talking to somebody about this business or about the product, I will gear my social media towards that person. I'll have that person in mind. So let's just say I'm talking to somebody who's a nurse practitioner. I will gear my success stories towards being a nurse practitioner. Let's talk about somebody whose objection is money. I will gear my social media towards why somebody waited so long, because they said they didn't have money, and like everything that I do will be geared towards that. If I'm talking to somebody about just product, unblemished, my before and after pictures, any kind of product education post that I'm doing will be geared towards that person in mind, my audience, who I want to speak to, okay? It is a way to subtly speak to these people without being in their face, okay? Another piece of social media outside of Rodan and Fields that is so important, and this is the most important part. Why would I still be able to build a business with complete strangers? I couldn't do it if it was not for social media. Remember when we had the video where I talked about trust? Trust is a huge issue in recruiting. People join you because they trust you. And if you don't have the time to spend with them and to pour into them, that trust isn't there. But social media does a lot of the heavy lifting for us when it comes to trust. When I post on social media about my family, about my husband, about my beliefs, about what I'm passionate about the culture that I've built within this organization, who do you think is seeing that? My prospects. My prospects see that. They don't know me from Adam, but they go on there and they look at the people that are engaging with me, and they watch how I engage with them. And in their mind, they're like, okay, she is not like a nut. She is not a freak. She is a normal person, okay? That's why you need to be real careful when you post on social media to keep all the negativity out, okay? To kind of keep the any kind of political views or stances. Again, it's your arena. You can do what you want. I am not going to tell you how to run social media, but any kind of really strong stances that you have, as my husband says, there is a time and place for everything, and social media is not the place. And yeah, it's not. I believe in living a life on social media where it is, what does Jen Pinkner have? The Get Real Wednesday, where it's like, this is what it really looks like behind the scenes. I'm all about that. I think that's great. And I believe in being transparent. But I also believe that there is a time and a place for certain things to be discussed. And some issues just don't belong on social media. They can cause a lot of controversy. I also believe that if you're typically a negative person, that can be seen on social media. It can be. People can read it. And so I would be very careful about what you say and make sure that you just keep it in the straight and narrow. Okay? If you're negative, people don't want to join negative people. They want to join people who are happy and excited and who are going somewhere. And that's all I'm going to say about that. All right, so let's talk about our objections, because this is a part of follow-up, okay? So when you're talking to a prospect and they have, let's say they've watched an event, they've come to an event, they've come to a virtual event, and they come back and say, you know, I've got, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money, this is probably not a good fit for me, okay? This right here is where you need to dig in. You have to dig your heels in, and you have to start asking questions and going back and forth with people. Again, no question is off limits to Liz to ask, okay? If they're gonna say it, then I'm gonna find out why. I wanna know why. I'm just like my daughter Claire, who's like, why? Why are the plants green? Why is the dirt brown? Why does the sun shine? Where does the sun come from? Oh my gosh, it drives me absolutely insane. I'm like, but that's how we need to be with our prospects. Wearing them down in a gentle way, okay, to the point where we get them to really tell us what the issue is, which I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now what the issue is. The issue is that they're fearful. Self-doubt. Failure is the main reason. Fear of failure is the main reason why people do not want to do this business. They're afraid of what their friends are going to think of them. They don't have confidence in themselves. And that, my friends, is why the trust component is so, so important. And so you developing that relationship with them watching you do a big life on social media is all a part of you wearing your prospects down to where they eventually get to the point where they're like, I really can't say that anymore. I literally have one girl, a prospect, who I ran into the other day, and before we even started talking, she was like, I should do Rodingham Fields. And I'm like, I'm not even gonna go there with you. And she was like, well, I can tell you this, pretty much every excuse I've ever come up with, I can't even say it anymore because everybody has joined your business that has the same excuses that I have. And so you've smushed those. And I'm like, yeah, I have. Okay. So why she's not going to join now is beyond me, but she's got to figure that out. Okay. So let's talk about these objections. The main objections that I hear from people are time and money. Okay. So if somebody comes back to you and tells you that time is their issue, then what you need to do is basically just say to them, ask them if they think that you have an abundance amount of time. I'm like, hello, we all have the same amount of time. Okay. But in a loving way, say, you know, you need to tell them how you built this business. You built it in your spare time. And you need to tell them, say, listen, I know that doesn't make sense to you, but you have to experience it and you have to trust me to know that you have the ability to be able to build this business. Giving them examples of other people in other professions who have much more life going on, giving them those examples is really going to make them know that they can't use time as an example anymore. Sharing stories from the Redefined blog, sharing stories from the YouTube or any other RFXer story or a call. Those are all ways to refute and smush the time issue. Money, okay? If somebody says money is the issue, I always say, well, that's exactly why you should do this. And it is. And so when someone says money is the issue, we're working through like, okay, let's think of ways that you can save up for the kid. Have a garage sale. Do this, do that. Work more. Save up for your kid. If they don't do that, then that's telling you that there's another underlying issue there, which it always is when it comes to money. What I want you to do is really look at these people on social media, okay? 9 times out of 10, their lifestyle is not indicative of somebody that doesn't have money. They're going to these lavish concerts, they're taking luxury trips, they're buying wonderful purses, and I think that you just need to call it what it is. So here's a little example of what I would say to a prospect in a very loving way if I had a lot of, if I thought that this person could really kill it in this business, then I would take the time to be able to say this to them, okay? Sally, I have found that we invest in things that we feel are worthwhile, and I wonder if fear or just not understanding the opportunity could be the real issue for you. I would like for us to discuss this over a cup of coffee or lunch on me, because I want you to know that I actually have these same thoughts, and I want to tell you what I found. So getting with these people one-on-one, having coffee with them, having lunch with them, scheduling a phone call, scheduling a Zoom call. I'm doing a Zoom call tomorrow for prospects. It's time for me to see them eyeball to eyeball, okay? That changes things. If you're conversing with people back and forth through a text, and you're not at some point saying, I've got a lot to say and we need to get eyeball to eyeball, you're messing up, okay? I have never been able to go back and forth and successfully sign a consultant and then be successful. You have to have a full-blown conversation with them so that they can hear your voice, they can see your eyes, and the trust that you have, okay? So there's one example of how I would handle money. All right. Those people that say, the dog has to have surgery, the dishwasher went out, these are all excuses hiding behind fear, just for what it's worth, okay? I guess I've worked with so many, I've heard all the excuses, I've done enough three-way calls from my other directs that I know that it all eventually comes down to fear. And so if that's the case, my recommendation to you would be to hit it head on, just like I did with Sally, okay? And say, I have a feeling that this is probably the real issue, is that you either don't understand what I'm doing or that there may be a fear there. And I want you to know that I identify with that, and I want us to talk about that, because I feel like, Sally, that you would be amazing at this. And if nothing else, I just want you to be informed and have knowledge of what I'm doing, okay? Again, one-on-one, Zoom, FaceTime, no text, no email, no Facebook message. Okay. All right, now I'm going to address some of the follow-up questions that you guys had from the comments when I posted yesterday. First of all, if I do not address somebody's question, let me know. But this is what we're going to end with. If from this you have another scenario, post it, and I'll figure out how we address it. Okay. So let's see. Okay. When is a good way to respond to someone who writes back that they're not looking for anything but thanks for reaching out? A polite no. Do you respect and say okay, or do you counter? Girl, I always counter. Who's going to let it end at no? And if they were polite, then yes, always counter, even if they don't respond. So here's what I would say. Someone who typically says no, again, this is Liz just being in her insightful self. Here's what's happening. Number one, our name is out there for most people. So most people are saying no, either because they've tried the product, okay? And they did not have a good success with it. Number two, they don't want to follow mainstream. So they're those people who are like, they don't like other people who sell things, which, hello, they're going to have to get over that because that's the way the world's going. Or number three, they don't have enough info. And so you need to find out why, okay? It's your job to find out why they're resisting. So ask questions. I always want to keep the conversation going. Here's an example of how I would respond. Totally understand. Sally, thank you for at least saying no. I appreciate you at least responding to me. I always tell people, thank you for responding to me. Because guess what? We don't get a lot of responses, do we? And I think it is very polite when someone responds. And so I tell them, I think the world of you, of course, is why I reached out and I wanted to get your opinion. Please know there's no strings attached. It's a free sample. Not going to ask you to buy anything. Not going to ask you to sell anything. I just love your feedback. Do you already have a regimen or system that you love? Question mark. Okay. Another question that you could ask at the end would be, I'm curious, have you already tried the product and didn't have success? Question mark. Okay. You can always ask questions. There's always questions to be asked, and that keeps the conversation going. All right. Next, I'd love to send you a sample from my skincare business. That's how someone is, the consultant has reached out and said, I'd love to send you a sample from my skincare business. And the person responds, oh, let me guess. RNF? No, thank you. Okay. I read that. Mm-hmm. So here is what Liz would do. All right. Liz would not respond to that. That is rude. Okay. That's very rude. And I guess I would think to myself, like, I don't want anybody buying from me that's rude like that. There are some issues that this person has with themselves, obviously. And it has nothing to do with you. And anybody who is a classy, considerate, and normal personality would either not respond at all because they don't want to say no, or they would just be polite and say, no, thank you. But to say, let me guess, RNF, no, thank you. I probably would unfollow that person. There is a way, actually, that you can, you don't have to unfriend them, but you can unfollow them so you don't see their stuff, okay? But that is really rude. And I made a decision in the beginning of my business that I had a choice of who I could work with. And if I came in contact with somebody that thought that they were better than everybody, then I didn't want to work with somebody like that. And so I would tell you that you have the #1 skincare brand in all the land, and you have everything to be proud of. And I would just carry on and let that person go away. That is my personal opinion. Maybe someone else would give you theirs. Okay. All right. Next question. Everyone is selling something these days. Yep. Okay. Oh, wait, that's the question. Yeah. Everyone is selling something these days. That's the response. That's the objection. Okay. So here is how I would handle this. Yes, they are. Times are changing. I'm going to read you what I wrote here because it really is good. Do you remember when we all used to watch Hee Haw? Or remember when it was luxury to even have a TV in your home? Sally, do you know I have a TV in every room now, even in my bathroom? Better yet, even TV is changing. Can you believe that? Did you hear that nobody watches cable anymore? Isn't that nuts? Everybody is streaming TV from their internet. Is that not crazy? Just like TV, Sally. Business has changed dramatically in the last 10 years. Social media and the internet have turned traditional business models of retail upside down, inside out, and on their head. Did you see that all the Radio Shacks had shut down at the local mall? Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And you just wait, because what you're seeing, Sally, it's just the beginning. I've been reading, and you know what? Many Fortune 500 companies are trying to figure out how to make business work, and they keep looking at our business platform. Things change, and the wave of the future is for us to be utilizing social media with a third-party company to get products into people's hands. How does that sound? Yes, business is changing. So the fact that everybody sells something, and that should be an excuse, I mean, I think you just have to say yes. That is how everybody sells something. And let's just go even outside of direct sales, okay? I could walk up and down my neighborhood right now, and everybody sells something that lives in my neighborhood, whether it's themselves, whether it's a product. We sell something every day. So the fact for that to be an excuse, you don't have to be as sassy as I was, but that's the reality. Is business is changing, times are changing, and yes, companies are trying to figure out how to meet consumers where their needs are, and the internet, e-commerce, and social media are where it's at. And so that's why everybody is selling something, because we're all trying to make our way through this life. All right, that's probably too sassy on that one. Okay, let's see. All right, I know you say the market's not saturated, but I see so many people already selling. Okay, so yes, and again, these questions, these ones that I'm addressing right now, these definitely do need an in-person meeting, okay? So the market is not saturated. First of all, you've got to share the data with them through a phone conversation or in person. Less than 3% of the U.S. population is using RF. That includes customers and consultants. Our unaided brand awareness tells me that, you know, we're years away from the market being saturated. Like, we're not even on the radar with people when it comes to brand awareness, which is not good. Like, that's something that we are definitely working towards. So what I do with these people is I ask them, what exactly is it that makes you feel like the market's saturated? This is what I've been doing with my people. And so they tell me, social media. Well, every time I go on social media, I see somebody selling something. And so I will tell them, I'll say, okay, tell me who you know that sells. I'll ask them. And I've done this a couple of times. And so here's what happens when they do that. Okay, well, let me think. So Aunt Bobby, she sells it. But, you know, I don't think she sells it anymore. I hadn't seen her post in a long time. And I know my friend Sarah, she sells it. And she's got somebody under her. I think she might be working in business. And then I know my other friend, Sandra, she signed up as a consultant, but she's not even on social media. And I know Bobby, she's a consultant, but I don't ever see her post anymore. I don't think she, and that right there, I'm like, okay, so see, like, half the people you just mentioned don't even work the business anymore. And so this is more than just what you're seeing on social media. What you are is you're hyper aware of it, because we all live in the social media bubble now, unfortunately. And the reality is, even if you don't believe me, that's okay, but you need to know the reality, because you're living in a social media bubble right now. The reality is that if Nashville has over 1,000 Lexus drivers and still has people getting in their cars and building huge businesses in the Nashville area, which is where the business started. That's where Rodan and Field started, was in Nashville. Then we're not even near being saturated. And Nashville is still the fastest growing market, and it was the first, okay? If Mary Kay has over 1 million car drivers and we don't even have 1,000, yeah, we got a long ways to go, okay? If I have people, and you tell them this, say, you know, if I have people on my team who live in a small town, less than 5,000 people, their whole family's in Rodan and Fields, and they all live within a 5-mile radius of each other and they're still bringing in people into the business, then that for sure tells me we're not saturated. And then I tell people, because I'm still actively recruiting. I literally have people in my backyard who have never heard of Rodan and Fields before, and they're on social media. And I still have Rodan and Fields sending me people who are interested in the opportunity and interested in products. And so, and they've never heard of us before. The market's not saturated. And I tell people, I'm honest with them. I say, I know it doesn't seem like that to you, but you really need to understand that you're living in a little bubble on social media, and what you see is not reality. Okay. And usually by the time I explain that, people are like, yeah, you're right. Okay. All right. What I will end with is a positive with this, okay, when it comes to saturation, is what I will say is the good thing is that there is some awareness in our market, which you want that when you're building a business. You want some awareness because that's where the momentum happens. Okay. If you come into a market and you have to build that market, that is hard. Okay. But if there's some awareness there, then this is the prime time to join the business. Okay. All right. Do I ever get ghosted after providing samples? Yes, a lot. How do you handle the no response and or translate an interested contact into a referral source? Well, first of all, if they're not responding, then I'm definitely not going to ask them for a referral. But I will keep following up with them. These 2 PC customers that I got, like literally 3 years. And I want you to know it wasn't every month. I wasn't messaging them every month, but pretty much anytime a deal came up or a special, that was always my cue to follow up with them. If they crossed my mind, I know I need to have a more like beehive or some kind of system. But these people are always on my radar, okay? And I would always at some point follow up with them. I never let them fall through the cracks, okay? So yes, I mean, there would be times where I would message them. They would say, okay, I'll, give you my credit card tomorrow, and then I would never hear from them. And I would message them, hey, you need my credit card? Nothing. And then so like the next special would come up and I would reach out to them and say, hey, just wanted to let you know that this is. And then they would never respond. And the next special would come up and I'd respond. And then they never respond. And then the next special would come up and I'd be like, and then they would respond. And maybe the same scenario happened again. And this goes on for like 3 or 4 years. Isn't this fun? Yeah. All right. Okay. My question is for your cold market. If you jump in and lead with the business, if they respond and you send them a little info or opportunity call, would you then ask if you can send them a sample of the products to try if they were non-responsive at that point? Absolutely. Yes. If you cannot get anybody to move on anything, send them a sample. Send them a brochure, love on them. And here's what you say. I always say, I don't say sample. I always say, hey, I realize either I've dropped the ball or this is no longer on your radar anymore, which is totally fine. I want you to know I still adore you and I just want to send you a little happy mail. Can you shoot me your address? Okay? You got to shock the system. So just send them something fun, a sample. But don't call it that. Make it sound like you're sending them something awesome, like $1 million. Okay, sorry. When a prospect says I'm interested, can you send me more info or tell me more? I don't want to overwhelm them. So what's the best response? Less is more because I think I've said way too much in the past. Hard pill to swallow. Yes. Okay. So as soon as a prospect says they're interested, we're on the phone. And when they start coming back at me with objections, texting me, Facebook messaging me, we're back on the phone again. I don't ever send a ton of information through Messenger because I want to talk to them one-on-one, okay? When we're talking, here's what I do. I let them lead the conversation, okay? I am not throwing up on them. I've already told them my story. I've told them about the company, okay? And so they're meeting me with objections. And so when I get them on the phone, basically what I'm saying is, what scares you about this, okay? What are you nervous about, okay? And then I'm saying, What intrigues you about this? What excites you about this? I let them lead the conversation at that point. I don't give any more input because that can throw up more objections for them. I answer their question and I move on. This is a great question, okay? So I have several people who say they're interested, don't have any more questions, but just need to think on it. I keep following up. There really aren't any objections, at least they're not telling me. They just say, I just need to think about it more, or I'm considering my different options. How do I respond and get people to take the leap? Okay. I just ask them, I say, what are the other opportunities that you're looking at? I'm so curious. I ask. And then if somebody tells you that they need more time, that they're thinking about this, I'll tell them, hey, let's hop back on the phone. I want to make sure that I meet your needs and have answered all your questions. And I want a good sense of time of how I need to follow up with you so that I'm not bugging you. And then when I get them on the phone, I kind of try to have them think, okay, about what time are you thinking? Like a couple of weeks, couple of months? I try to nail them down on time so that you're not, and you can tell them, say, listen, I'm a business person. Obviously, I want to follow up with you, but I don't want to bug you and I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. So it's important for me to know, at what point do you think that you would have a decision, and what more information could I give you in order for you to make the best decision? Okay. All right. Always asking questions. And by the way, with that one, when somebody, it's always fear. Whatever their objection is, remember the rule of thumb. It's always fear. And so when they say they don't have any more objections, they just need to think about it, or they're considering different options, really what that says is it's fear. Okay. And you have got to work through all of the objections. And if it comes down to the end and they still say, I don't have any more, I just need to think about it, it's time for you. At some point you're going to know, and you're just going to say, Sally, I feel like you're nervous about this. You're nervous about whether or not you can do this. And I want you to know I felt the same way too, and I want us to talk through this. Okay? You've got to meet them at that fear and tell them that you relate to them, because that's the real issue. But you've got to work through all their objections in their head, because they don't really know that it's fear that's the underlying issue. And you've got to help them get there. Okay? All right. If you walk down this wrong road, this is me. Yeah. If you walk down this long road and someone says no, keep following up. If they ghost you, follow up. If they tell you no, follow up. If they don't respond but have responded in the past, keep following up. If someone is downright mean to you and ugly, don't tolerate that. Okay? That is not you. All right? And that's not our company, and we don't stand for that. But as long as someone is polite and nice, they want you to follow up. I know it doesn't feel like it, but I promise you, it's what they want. And the reason I know is because I've had so many customers and so many consultants thank me for following up and never giving up on them. Asking questions is so important in getting to the real issue, which is fear. All right. The underlying issue is always fear. Don't jump the gun and tell them, you're fearful. I know it. Okay. Again, this is a process, and you have got to answer their objections, but just know in your head what's happening psychologically with them is the underlying issue is fear. Okay. And you need to get to that point where you say, Sally, I really think that this is probably the real issue. And I want to tell you my experience was the same way. And here's what I found. Okay. All right. Having that heart to heart with someone, that's where you develop that trust. Okay. This was very long. This was probably much longer than I wanted to, but I so hope it was helpful. Tomorrow, we are going to talk about how to shock the system. When you're following up with someone, I have some ideas because they're, when you can't get a response out of somebody and they're ghosting you, I have some ideas for you of how to shock the system and hopefully get a response. So hope this has helped. Again, super long video, but I hope that you watched it a couple of times, and I hope it was helpful for you. Any comments any comments, feedback, whatever you have, please post in the comments below.